Good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon, everyone. We are the group 6 and we are going to talk about the topic 3, speech communities. Next, please. What are speech communities? Speech communities are groups that share values and attitudes about language use, varieties, and practice. These communities develop through prolonged interactions among those who operate within this shared and recognizing beliefs and value systems regarding forms and styles of communication. In contrast, the act of turning human sound into symbols that are recognizable as speech and particular to a group of people requires an agreement of some sort regarding the system of symbols in circulation. The next The concept of a speech community doesn't mean just to focus on groups that speak the same language. So, rather, the concept means that language constitutes meaningful participations in society and culture. Anthony Cohen believes that communities can be understood with their boundaries, since they are identified by both their uniqueness and difference. What is a fundamental to both speech and community? These are systems of interactions and symbols. This is why speech communities are a wide that language, ideologies, and social identities are constructed. Thank you so much.
Speech community. As Johnny said, a speech community is a group of people who share linguistic norms and the same language. Also, they share community membership and a common linguistic communication. A speech community can be a small town, but the scientific William Labloff defends that even a big metropolitan zone can also be a speech community because they belong to the same community and they talk the same language. A speech community are bounded grounds of people that tend to share partially their language. Also, a set of particular grammatical and vocabulary conventions. They live and interact together. Also, they share two or more language in some cases. Language discourse on the representation. Discourse refers to a unit of language longer than a single sentence. To study discourse refers to study the language written or spoken in a social context. A language is a structured system of communication. In broader sense, is the method of communication that includes a particularly human language. Representation is the production of meaning through language. Also, representation means to be an essential part of the process that is produced and exchanged between members of a culture. This involves sounds, signs, images, and the same language. To represent something is to describe or depict it, to call it up in the mind by description or portrayal or imagination. Also means to stand for, to be a substitute or a specimen from something. Thus, this is the link between concepts, and this enables to refer to the real world of objects, peoples, or events, to the fictionary world of objects, peoples, and events. Discourse becomes from the Latin discurrere, that in English is run away. Run away symbolizes that the discourse is a conversation that goes fluidly.
Retrieving the speech community. First, we had to consider that initially, speech communities focus on language systems relations, and boundaries. The word, or John Gurpet revived the concept of the speech community by considering it a social construct. He also defined verbal interaction as a social process. What is interesting is that one of the authors who supported his idea was Haynes, and Haynes described speech community as a fundamental concept for the relation between language, speech, and social structure. He considered the question of boundaries essential in order to recognize that communities are not, by definition, fixed units. Next, please. Sociolinguistics and social factors. Creole language studies suppose a challenge to the concept of speech community. This because, as we know, sociolinguistics is the study of language, society, and variation, while, by the other hand, Creole language studies how multiple languages are combined to form a new language system in order to determine whether one is distinct enough from all other language to be called a language itself. Thus both areas focus on the difference among and within speech communities that often result from gender, social class, race, and so on, and where you can notice the difference between dialect and language. Thank you.
The origins of research on language, class, and ethnicity. How language and social context such as class or ethnicity influences from the perspective of sociolinguistics. Well, the language is considered a more effective way of identifying yourself, expressing and communicating within the society. The influence of the social context and language on it is change and variation will be influence of the cultural community of gender and the economic influences. Now, I will discuss the following points. What is the sociolinguistics? Sociolinguistics is one branch of linguistics that makes use the theories and application, including sociology and language, to discover its relationship between different societies. Following the approaches of William Labov, sociolinguistics is defined as the study of the structure and evolution of language within the social context of a speaking community. Now we discuss about factors from the following perspectives. Language difference, ethnicity difference, and class difference. The language is vital for the human because it establishes communication with other people. The ethnicity, knowing where you come from, is an elementary factor for defining your identify and which culture you belong to, why you are, where you are, and many other things. This is why the concept of ethnicity is central to understanding humanity. It is diversity, it is traditions, its beliefs, its diverse, its language and meaning. The class are a type of socioeconomic classification that is used to determine one class from the other. The upper, middle, and lower class considered an influential factor in sociolinguistics. For example, the upper class has a more cultural vocabulary, while the middle and lower class have vulgar vocabularies, and this affects linguistics in society. Thank you so much. That's all.